Yeah, so basically the first network state was monotheism. So I've got some books up here. This is about me, but nobody cares about that. You should follow me on Twitter, though. The Ancient City by this French historian basically talks about how we had polytheism because the gods were the gods of the household and the gods of the city. And when you won a battle, that was because your god defeated the other tribe's god. But then monotheism happened, and by definition, if there's one god who created the universe, then you don't need to be a member of a particular tribe to follow that god, right? And so it led to the first transnational networks. And so there's many we can talk about. We can talk about Judaism, we can talk about Islam, but I don't have time. So I'm just going to talk about my favorite, which is the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church really was a network state. It was more than a network state. That's what I'm going to argue. And it basically built the West. So this one book down by the left, sort of famous, basically argues that Catholic marriage law sort of led to the creation of the West by making cousin marriage illegal. And that's what ended clannishness, and that's why Western people were sort of more rule oriented and so on and so forth. This other one, is it here? Yeah, Victory of Reason. Rodney Stark basically argues, again, this is a very long argument, that Catholic philosophy sort of led to rationalism and science. But it was more practical. So, for example, transnational banking, international banking, was sort of sponsored by the Catholic Church. The first real bank was the Knights Templar, because basically if you wanted to go to crusade, you had to fund it. And so what would you do? You would go to the Templars and you would say, okay, I'm going to give you like a piece of my property, and in exchange, you're going to fund my passage, and when I get there, you're going to give me money. Well, that's basically like tokenizing assets. That's basically international banking. And then, the Venetians did it, the Italians did it, but that's where it comes from. The limited liability company, which was really what made capitalism possible. That's also Catholic. Also helped the foundation of the state. So this book, Sacred Foundation. Usually they tell you, oh, it was against the church that the modern state was founded. Not really, she argues. But the key thing is the Catholic Church never tried to become a superstate, unlike, for example, the Islamic Caliphate. So what I would argue is the Catholic Church is a network of network states, or at least it was. And why is this important? Because your network state needs an OS. It needs asibia. That's in Khandun in the 14th century. It's a word you can't really translate, but it means, sense of social solidarity, sense of group cohesion, sense of purpose, sense of the French Foreign Legion has asibia, Does your network state have asibia? How do you create it? I would argue religion and traditional religion is a big one. There are others. You can try nationalism, but if we're here, we probably think nationalism has failed in some way. You can try ideology. We did that in the 20th century. That didn't really work. You can try cult. That's like a popular Silicon Valley idea. Oh, your startup should be a cult. Okay, that's fine. But, some cults go wrong, in Silicon Valley. You have rationalist cults that sort of like do murder-suicides. It's kind of like, oh. But actually it makes sense because extreme rationalism is actually insane. So pure rationalism leads to insanity. And, that's why you had dark network states that we don't talk about. The Bolsheviks, they were a group of people, international, sort of organizing, shared purpose, and, they founded a state. Did that go well? I'm not sure. Another one, ISIS. ISIS was a network state. It's a bunch of people online with shared purpose. Let's do a caliphate. Oh, So what's left? Basically, my argument is traditional religion has been refined over time. It's like Linux, It's like, oh, this code is super hairy. Well, actually, your hairy code is like thousands upon thousands of weird edge cases that have been found and fixed over time, and that's why it works. So I talked about ISIS. We're right next door to Malaysia, which is a very tolerant Muslim country. Why? Because they just do traditional Islam. So which great religion should you pick? Islam's already been done. Judaism's already been done. I would argue Catholicism. It's the platform for the network state. It's the network of network states. It did England. It did the Knights of Malta. It's pretty good. OK, I'm done. Thank you.